sidewalks can also be fixed during with the community improvement grant, from my understanding, if you have 3 people from your neighborhood that come and apply for it. And so they could be on this list, and it would probably hit all of those metrics, because it would make the community better, and it would make it more livable for a neighborhood. So I love being held accountable. I love it when you guys stand up and call us out. I am like bursting inside with excitement with the people that stood up and said exactly what was on their mind. And I also love that Councilor Mullen had mentioned that the fact that it is just a one-way thing, because we're city councilors. We should just be listening to you guys for that 3 minutes and shut our mouths. Just have thick skin for whatever you guys have to say. Hopefully respectfully, though, and not yelling. But anyway, I just wanted to say that the community improvement grants are an awesome thing that we're just doing for the first year, and I am super excited about them. And I know there's community members that are super excited about them. And when people start seeing this stuff change, the imaginations are going to go wild. People are going to start going, well, what about this? And what about that? And oh, this has been a problem for 20 years and we haven't had the money for this. Because we live in a community where our average family income is about $50,000 a year. People don't have extra money to just be throwing at projects that don't impact their daily life within their own home. They're not thinking about the sidewalk that's out front, unless the city's telling them to. Or they're falling and breaking their nose like one of our community members did. But anyway, I also wanted to encourage you guys to please talk to your friends about this levy and why it's so important to fund our library. It was one of the main attractors, the pool in the library, one of the main attractors for me and my family even moving back here, because I'm a single mom, and I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and we love the amenities that the city has to offer. So, and my kids are part of your guys' future workforce and part of your future leaders. So let's have a good place for them. So yeah, encourage people to talk about it, and whether you're in favor of it or opposed to it, just talk about it. Keep it out in the community and let people know why it's important. Because you guys have now been here and you heard why it's important, and we heard from Mr. Martinek letting us know kind of the history of like the pool and what all went into it. A lot of people gave a lot of their own personal money to make this community great. And so if there's ways that we can support that generous gift that people have given to make it last longer, then I'm all for it. So anyway, keep coming to the meetings, keep standing up and telling us what you think. I love it. I love it.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay, Chris.
So real quick, again, just a reminder, and a couple of the councilors talked about it in the last city council, this is not the only forum for you to engage with us. So I just want to repeat that. We have email, phone numbers, you can go through the city to get in touch with us, and I can guarantee you every one of us will be responsive to those communications. The second is I want to give kudos to the library staff for the brews, bites, and books. That was so much fun, and it was a great event, so thank you for that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor comments?
Yes. Along the lines of that, Chat with a Counselor is coming back. So we'd like to go in a direction where 2 counselors are present for this. We haven't worked out a location for February's meeting yet, but we're looking to do it probably in the next couple Saturdays here at some point. Me and newly minted Councilor McDonald will be going and hearing some of your concerns and allowing for some of those robust conversations that we've discussed. And I know Russ is taking part of those, and we appreciate having him and other community members who are interested in having their voices heard and kind of having a back and forth conversation, whereas it's just one way coming from the podium. So I encourage you to take part of that. I encourage you to recommend to your neighbors to take part in that. I value your input, and I do take it back. The intent with that is to be bringing back some of the things that we hear from citizen members to the council as sort of a liaison capacity. At least that's my intent for this going forward. So yeah, I would just bring that to you, and hopefully 2 more councilors could take that on next month.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Ord.
I just wanted to thank all of you for coming and hanging out with us and sharing your thoughts. They are really important. About the community improvement grants, I just want to echo everything that Councilor Hook said. But it comes down to a pride in ownership and a pride in our community, and that's what we're really trying to focus on here as a council. One of our goals is to get more community involvement, and so this is a great way to do that. And like I said, I'm hoping that this kind of catches on and we have more people who are wanting to get involved. And like you mentioned, Councilor Hook, to say like, oh, you know, the sky's the limit. What else can we do for our community? I'm really excited to see what happens. Thank you for the information. One of our commenters about the pool and library. And then we discussed the homelessness issue was brought up 2 times. So councilors, do we want to instruct staff to bring that to us, or information?
I think I walked in 3 minutes late, so I think I missed part of Mr. Sherman's, but I've heard a lot of what he has had to say on that before.
Yes, so just in terms of what are our plans, or what do we have in place for homeless members of our community?
I would love to know what our current policies are when someone gets approached, or when a community member sees someone that's, you know, in need, or somewhere where maybe they should or shouldn't be, like private property or something. I'd kind of just like to know like what we're doing now, so that we know, and like really robustly know what we're doing now, so that we can really understand. And I also want to say, I'd also like to know like what kind of homeless activity we have. I know I've witnessed some myself, but I want to know, what do I not know? Like how many of these pockets do we have? About how many homeless individuals do we have in our community right now that the police force are interacting with, so that we can try to figure out what other cities are doing to either help them or help keep this issue under control, and like then we can have a plan of attack of like how can we get things like affordable housing here, so that we have places for people on lower incomes to stay, because
to kind of gauge the actual severity. Because
exactly,
everybody has their own opinions about what the actual severity is.
Right. I want to know
concrete information on how big the problem actually is,
and how we deal with it right now. So I think
informational.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think, Keith? You got that?
We know what Salem's doing, or not. I know. Other
Mr. Mayor, I just, as far as that goes also, I know the police chief and I have had pretty extensive conversations about this as it's related to the city of Stayton. So I'm really looking to hear from him and what tools the police force could use in the future, if and when this became a problem downtown, similar to how it has in Salem.
Yeah.
So something along those lines, that's what I'm looking for.
Agreed.
From an informational briefing from city staff.
Yeah, I was thinking the chief as well.
Okay.
I definitely agree with that as well. That's a great point, and it would be good to kind of have that sky as the limit approach of what would you do? What are the options out there? How can we tackle this?
Other comments? No?
Nope, that's
Okay.
it.
From the staff?
Yeah, I guess I'll touch on a couple of things. I mean, homelessness is what we call in my field adaptive work, which means there's no easy solutions, there's no models that you can do. There's also interesting case law. City of Boise had a recent case, and you're seeing some of this in Salem. So I think also I'd want to be cautious about necessarily diving into the weeds. We've had issues with confrontations. I wouldn't necessarily want to spark something like that, but I think this is a pretty complicated issue. I mean, I think Salem's got a lot of attention recently. It's important to understand that those individuals have rights as well, and we have to be very careful about that. When I mentioned the City of Boise case, that is the big case that comes out. To summarize, that being homeless isn't a crime, and we can't make it a crime, and that's one of the big challenges, and then services and some of that. So I think we can have a conversation about that. I know the police chief has been really active in that. I know we've been following and having conversations with our peers and following what's happening in Eugene and Salem, which are two of the communities that are really dealing with that issue. I think I also want to talk about, we mentioned this in our, and I'm not trying to keep people long here, but we mentioned this in our budget hearings, the community grant improvement program Dan brought to me, and I think it was a great idea from a pilot program that he saw, but where I would encourage people to go if they're curious is there's an organization called Strong Towns. Strong Towns advocates for this. This is kind of the basis of what we brought it forward for and expanded it. And Strong Towns goes with the idea that you make small incremental improvements over a broad area of your community over a long period of time, and those add up to enhancing your community, and to not get caught up always with the big projects or the things of the ribbon cutting, but to try to find those. And that's what the intent and the goal of the program is. Strong Towns is a very interesting website. And I encourage people to go, and you can see that whole idea of just what I said. That's how they model it. Small investments, broad area, long period of time, and over time you'll see enhancements to your community. So I just wanted to give some more details and information about what we're doing and where that comes from, and kind of the pilot program that came in with that. And then Lance, I know we had a conversation today. I think maybe the Jordan Bridge work started today. Is that correct? Or it will be starting pretty soon. So I'm putting you on the spot. We didn't talk about this beforehand, but I figure you can chat about it briefly because I figured it'd be interesting.
Tomorrow.
Okay,
So we anticipate work on the Jordan Bridge will begin tomorrow. So I just wanted the community members to know that was happening. And with that, Mr. Mayor,
All right, is that it, Keith?
That's it.
Okay. Future agenda items, facilities master plan presentations, a resolution on Oregon Parks and Recreation Department grant. It's after 9 o'clock. Is there anything else? Let's go home. Thank you.